Hi, I'm Zoe Wilson, and I'm joined by the wonderful Donna Sarkar. Hey, Donna. So
Hi.
at ESPC, you presented on Agent Boss and what it means. What are the three key takeaways that attendees should remember?
Okay, so Agent Boss, that's you, by the way. We're, as you know, Zoe, in your work, we've been helping people build agents or adopt agents out of the box for the last, I don't know, 2 years, right? And we're getting to a point where people are finally ready to get out of the sandbox experiment era and deploy the agent to their organization, whether it's your finance team, your legal team, or your entire company. And we followed the same model as we did for Power Apps back in the day, right? Specific agents for specific teams and actions. So the three takeaways for all of you who are going to get stuck doing this, okay? Because if you've done this for SharePoint, you've done it for Power Platform, you're going to have to do it for agents. The three takeaways for you are, you are going to have to make the decision whether you're buying or building an agent from scratch. Because some people will say, okay, cool, we're going to buy an agent from Microsoft Marketplace or wherever, or you're going to build your agent with M365 or Copilot Studio or AI Foundry. So that will likely be your decision, all based on the use case and the data, et cetera. So that's one thing. Second thing is you're going to have to babysit the agent. So once you deploy it, using whatever deployment techniques you use, and depends on the agent as well, you're going to be in charge of doing a fancy new word for testing called evals, evaluations. You're going to have to set the benchmark and say, this agent is doing its job, right? And that's different than Power Platform and SharePoint because those kind of do their job or not. But agents are going to have a benchmark. Like, is it 80% good? Is that good? Some agents, that's good enough. Some agents, that is no good, and you're going to have to take it down. And the third part, after you babysit the agents, is you're going to have to figure out when you cancel your agent. My session was called "We Like Our Copilots Canceled" for this reason, because at some point you may have to say, you know what, this agent is no good. I'm going to take it offline and try again. Or you need to figure out, hey, I did such a good job agent bossing. I agent bossed too close to the sun, and now I've got a promotion, and someone else is going to have to take over this agent. So now you are in the business of figuring out authentication, authorization, so someone else can take over your agent babysitting responsibilities.
I like that. So when you think about getting promoted, you have to do a handover, you have to transition your team to a new person, and it's that concept for agents, essentially.
Yeah, it's basically like hiring a vendor. So whatever model you use to hire and manage vendors, it's going to be a very similar concept. So we can't think of agents just like Power Apps or whatever kind of software. You have to think of more of it as a team of people who you're hiring to do a task.
And when we think about evaluations, I think one of the considerations people are not really giving enough thought to is the red teaming. So not just does this agent do the job I want it to do, but actually, is it only doing that job? What are some of the common mistakes that you see people making when it comes to putting agents into production and not thinking about that whole red teaming and responsible AI aspect?
I would say probably the biggest issue we're seeing is they're trying to make it IT's problem. And this is not IT's problem solo, right? It's red teaming is a team sport. Like, it's a very much a fusion team activity. Because where the agent lives, whichever org it lives in, the experts are going to be on that team. So for example, if you're building a customer support agent, you need customer support folks to red team that internally for at least 30 days and identify all of the weird issues that the agent can get into before going and turning it on publicly, right? So it's very much like the Fusion team thing from the Power Platform days, where you absolutely have to include the business people who will be impacted by the agent as part of it. And if your agent is external, I actually recommend you set up an insider program and turn it on only for a set of people who will encounter it rather than turning it on for all of your customers.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we think about people and people becoming agent bosses, obviously there's kind of a technical component to this, but what are the new skills that people will need?
I would say agent bossing, the technical parts you'll figure out because there's going to be tools for this, and you already know how to do this job. You know how to govern a system. The emotional human part actually is going to be more complicated because there's a lot of, let's say, spiritual life coaching we're going to have to do. First of all, a lot of people are really worried about AI actually taking their jobs. So the team that the agent will be working with, you need to spend a lot of time reassuring this team about what the agent does do and what the agent doesn't do, and what is the purpose of the agent. You're going to run into a lot of issues with people not wanting to adopt the agent in the org, or train the agent, or teach the agent, or do reinforcement learning human feedback, giving the agent feedback so it improves because they're worried about being replaced. So people all of us are going to have to be very, very clear with saying, hey, customer support, this agent is here to help you do your job and handle the frontline questions so you can handle the more gnarly, complicated questions where people want to escalate to a human. So that spiritual life coaching, I think, is a new skill that all of us are going to have to learn.
Yeah, it almost feels like a bit of an existential crisis, doesn't it? Where people are so worried about the impact of AI on their jobs, on their life, that there's a group of people who are just not willing to embrace it. But I think from Ignite, from this week at ESPC, it's very clear that this technology is here to stay, and we all need to get on the bus.
Yeah. So this tech is here to stay. We need to get on the bus, but also it's going to help us unlock a whole bunch of problems, right? I like to say we should use agents to solve the problems that used to be impossible. So a lot of companies are saying we never would have even thought about solving this problem before because we don't have the resources, we don't have the people, we don't have the expertise, etc. And I'll give you a real example. Whenever we want to migrate a code base from .NET, .NET 9 to 10.
COBOL.
Yeah, COBOL. Or COBOL. You want to migrate COBOL to Java? Good luck doing that manually, right? But with agents, you have a chance. I'm not saying it's going to be easy because it's still a very gnarly, very hard problem, but it will make it possible. And we've done this. We've migrated our Windows systems from this version to that version using GitHub Copilot, and we could not have done that without agents before.
So what is one thing that you have learned or one thing that you will take away from this week at ESPC?
I will say that people are starting to get curious about AI in a real way now. Right? Yesterday, I also did a workshop on how to use AI to creep on yourself and figure out what is being said about you and your business in the world. And people had an eye-opening moment. They're saying, oh, I use it for work all the time, but I never thought about how it can actually help me and my business with our brand. And I think that part, right, being extra human in the era of AI is going to matter.
Yeah, so I was actually talking to someone last night who'd attended that session, and they were telling me that they'd used Copilot to do some digging on their external profile, and it had taken their name and it had incorrectly linked them to a profile of someone with the same name who had a company that went bankrupt. And when you think about employers potentially using tools like this instead of Google to do that research on candidates, if this has the wrong information about you, it's potentially really damaging.
It's very damaging. I will tell you now, when I go to hire someone or hire a company, I do an AI researcher agent report on them. I get a full-on 5-page report on the person or the company before I hire them. And that's something that I may not have done the due diligence for before. I would have done a cursory check at their social media. Now you can get like a report of 20 years of career, 20 years of business. But again, the misinformation is a huge problem. And I actually think that's the biggest part of responsible AI. We have to say, where is this data coming from? And then we have to dig a little bit and say, this data is coming from, this connection with this connection with this connection. I tell everybody the thing to do once AI gives you something that is wrong is say, where are you getting this information from? Why are you thinking this? You need to correct it in real time because otherwise this information will continue to be wrong for other people who look for you.
Absolutely. So if people want to keep learning about any of this, whether it's using AI to look at your brand, whether it's how to be an agent boss, how to cancel co-pilots, what resources or tools would you recommend?
I would say Microsoft has a brand new skilling platform called AI Skills Navigator. Okay, so look up Microsoft's AI Skills Navigator. It's a brand new thing that we unveiled at Ignite, and it helps you build a custom learning plan for your AI journey. And what I like about it, and you all will appreciate, is that it is set up and built by and with neurodivergent people. So all of us who have different learning styles, right? For me, reading is not necessarily always the best solution, but watching, an endless stream of YouTube videos also isn't it? It's sometimes a combination of the both. I like a YouTube video with a transcript, right? So you can say, my learning style is this, or my learning style is this for this kind of content. It's this other thing for a different kind of content. And you build your own learning system along with what topic you'd like to learn. So check out Microsoft's AI Skills Navigator. All of this content will be findable there.
Absolutely fantastic. I think that's a great tip for everybody. A huge thank you for spending some time with me, Donna, and enjoy the rest of ESPC.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.